Lady
of
Gaga.
You're discussing the lyrics of Lady Gaga. Awesome, awesome. And what particular lyric? I guess.
Where she goes on and she says,
well, she says, suddenly
one second I'm a
coon.
coon, and then the coons is me.
And so I said, what the hell is a coon?
And so I made a joke about how she was a cunt, and then the
I
cunt
can
was her.
only. Yeah, that's what I would assume.
And so
it
we're
to
actually
be.
finding out.
So I googled it.
It's very artistic.
It's very
And what does it
meaningful.
mean now?
So Jeff Koons is an artist who was born decades before Gaga and is known for bizarre sculptures.
Oh, all right.
He's one of the artists collaborating with her on Art Pop's Transmedia Experience
Okay.
for the new image that's coming out with this new Art Pop album.
Okay.
He ended up creating the cover for Art Pop, and
Is that the one of like her ass? I don't mean
no,
to say it. Okay. Look.
well, she's an artist, and then suddenly she's a piece of Jem Koons' work.
Oh, okay.
So that was supposed to be the line, and but in German, Kunst, kunst is arty or art, so it has double meaning.
It's all artsy, basically.
Saying
Yeah,
that
it's all
once an arty, now the art.
I
So that
got
she
you.
created art, now she is art.
Yeah, I got you. How do you guys feel about Lady Gaga? Like I have no opinion on Lady Gaga for the most part, just because I don't
she's
listen
an
to
artist.
her.
I think the theatrics sometimes. Is
I wish
just
Carl was here
overdone.
because he's a pop culture guy too, so like he would be digging all of that up. I'm just not a. I haven't been.
I mean, I enjoy her
music.
music. I mean, she hasn't released one song that I just don't enjoy.
Just love.
And
Awesome.
You know, it's.
So this is Jerry Carter, and then who's this young man?
James
again?
Mills.
James Mills. And what do you do, Mr. Mills? If you don't mind me asking. Not that it really
I
matters.
do IT work
Okay.
for the most part on the side,
Awesome.
and then I've been in like the hospitality industry since I was a teen.
Oh,
So I do
you
a
know
lot
what it is.
of like event planning and decorating stuff like that. So I work as a personal assistant for Jerry.
Oh, awesome. And you do what kind of event planning now, Jerry?
I do social and corporate event planning.
Oh, my gosh.
But I do a lot of media marketing consulting and with political campaigns.
And you've been involved within the political system of Pueblo, Colorado.
Since '92.
92.
Since I was born.
Oh, did you just say that? Oh my
Wow,
gosh. I'm old too. I'm old too.
And there's gray hair from my beard today.
Yeah, I shaved, so I mean I got
Great.
lucky. There was nothing.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you
great.
for that.
So one of the main reasons I asked you is because of that activism. You've seen Pueblo grow in a completely different aspect for a long time. And Pueblo, I left for a decade. Now that I'm back, things are definitely growing towards a more liberal, I would say, culture than what it was when I left. And people like you definitely have a lot to do with that. I'm interested, I guess, in your opinion on what it was Pueblo back in the day and what it's come to, and the growth and the pain that you had to go through with that.
From perspective of just someone who's been here, or from LGBTQ
All of it.
perspective?
Well, specifically LGBT perspective. That's and then from you as well.
Okay.
However you want to take it.
Sure. Yeah, 'cause I think both are very different.
Okay. Yeah. Then I'd love to know the difference.
Yeah. I mean, because I too left. But the job I was, Pueblo was always like a home base.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just always traveling on a campaign, or in Iowa for 6 months for a presidential race, or in DC for 6 months, or always coming back. But definitely there's two very different perspectives.
Have you? Was there? I guess a lot of discrimination from Pueblo, Colorado, growing up, to the LGBT community.
I never saw it.
Okay.
I think a good reason. Are we on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, good. It's all right.
I never saw it because I think I spent the first 7 years of my life I went to private Catholic school.
Oh, did you really?
So as opposed to public school where I think it was probably more prevalent.
Uh-huh.
We were a very small class. We were sheltered. We taught to be kind. Yeah, John Newman.
Did you really? Oh my gosh.
So I never experienced that. In fact, the first time I experienced it was when in 7th grade I transferred to Roncalli.
And that was it.
And that was the first time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a time that things obviously are going around and different.
For you yourself in 7th grade and for guys.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, I became more aware of who I was and what was going on and who I wanted to go to the dance with as opposed to who I should go to the dance with.
I'm just texting Carl right now to let him know we're in the back.
Yeah. And so I think it was very different experience for me. And then going through high school, as my friends now tell me, it was always they always knew, and in fact, I think some of them were more aware and accepting of it than before I was.
Uh-huh.
But I never had any problems with it. It was I hung out with the popular kids.
Did you ever find any problems employment-wise or anything like that
It
with
wasn't
it?
until later after high school, actually.
Really?
Yeah. My as I went out here to school. I
Hmm.
went to see now CSU
Yeah.
Pueblo. And the job I was working at the time, the individual fired me and
Really?
basically told me
Because of it.
it was because I was gay.
And there was nothing that you could do at the time.
Nothing I could do, nothing I wanted to do
Yeah.
because I mean, I had just gotten I just graduated. I graduated when I was 16, turned 17 2 weeks after. Went to school that fall, still fairly figuring out everything. I came out when I was 18. And
Here in Pueblo, were you here in
yeah,
Pueblo when that happened? Did you have a pretty good supportive?
my coming out was to 5 friends at Pepper's nightclub.
Nice. Did you just say Pepper's nightclub,
Pepper's
Jerry?
nightclub.
Wow. You don't know anything about that. That's
Again,
probably better for all.
Pepper's nightclub was born before James. So.
Yeah.
I was in Pueblo.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Pepper's
It was a
nightclub, and I was
different
with 5 of my best friends, and I said, I have something to tell you guys. And they said, yeah, we know we're going to miss last call.
time.
And I was like crying. And
Yeah.
no, you guys don't understand. I have something to tell you. And like, Jerry, we've known for years. If you make us miss last call, we're going to kick your ass. And it was the funniest thing because they were so concerned about missing last call and knowing.
As opposed to
to
your
me
moment.
telling
This is
them.
your
And
moment.
I was so upset. And I think I was very dramatic and left the bar because I wanted to be such a more
Jerry
powerful,
Carter dramatic.
more powerful
ready.
event.
Jerry Carter dramatic. That doesn't ever happen.
Right,
Yeah.
you're ready for for the fireworks.
I wanted fireworks, and I wanted
The rainbow
them
flag drop
right,
behind
yeah.
him.
hugging me
Absolutely.
and then carrying me on a chair throughout Peppers. And
I would too. I mean, like if that was, I'd be like, yeah, this is
Nope.
this is what I've been waiting
it was a round of shots. Congratulations, we've always known,
for.
and that was it. And it kind of after that was just a slow process.
How important has the LGBT community been with Pueblo, Colorado's growth? You feel people like Danae Escar, people like yourself, activists within this community that are not only actually doing work, but there's great faces for this community as well.
Well, I really think it even has to go back before that. It has to go back to 1992.
Okay.
Because that's when Colorado passed Amendment 2, which basically said that gays and lesbians can be and should be discriminated against. And eventually that went to the Supreme Court and was they voted against that, saying it was not constitutional. But during that time, a group of Pueblo lesbian and gay folks came together and formed Pueblo After 2.
Okay.
And I really think they are the ones, that really laid the foundation for what today's activism is.
See, I didn't know anything about this whatsoever.
That is how SCEA evolved.
Yeah. What was Pueblo? Who were?
So Pueblo After 2 and Reverend John Hiles,
Okay.
who runs the local gay and lesbian church here.
Okay.
He was a big part of that. Some others that were way back in the community. But,
Carl Grutt's joining us, everybody. You're good, man. Go ahead.
Hey, Carl.
Howdy.
And it was, it was a scary time because basically Amendment 2 said that, you can and should be discriminated against. So I really think they kind of laid the foundation for the movement. In fact, they have one of the oldest murals on our levee project,
Okay.
which is the Rainbow Flag Triangle.
Oh, that's a great mural.
That is up there, and it's actually featured in a national magazine about the gay rights movement because it really said a lot, and they signed up Pueblo After 2, and I think that kind of that's how it developed. For me personally, it just so happened that was the same year that, like I said, I just come out, was going through the processes, and I was fortunate enough to establish a career in politics at the time, and working on presidential campaigns throughout the country, and eventually working for the White House.
Awesome.
Which introduced me to out gay and lesbian folks, something that I had never really seen, and individuals who became mentors and role models
that you never had.
That I never had here. My affiliation or association with gays was either through teasing or people are
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Liberace or
yeah.
Elton
Of
John
course, of
are
course.
The
The
icons that
stereotypes of the
the
community. Yeah.
stereotypes, and that was kind of, but I actually saw people who were in key high positions of the administration making decisions on national security, and they just so happened to be gay.
Uh,
And so I think for me, it was a combination of when I did return to Pueblo, taking those personal experiences and then just kind of working with the foundation that was already there with
and giving it back to the
after
community a
two,
little
giving
bit.
it back to the community.
That's I guess a question stemming from that then is like, do you uh, there's a lot of kids now LGBT oriented in this community, and I don't want to say yourself as a kid,
Oh,
but
no.
obviously you got a
Yes.
younger face than I do myself, so
I'm still in that
yeah,
category.
it's
So
all good. Would you say, from a dynamic perspective, when you were younger, having a role model would have been much easier of a transition for you into like Pueblo, Colorado? So that not existing for you yourself, do you feel like you have contributed now to building some type of that uh,
Uh,
for for people to feel comfortable?
Absolutely, and I think it is important. Perhaps it maybe just would have been earlier, but the one thing, and it's a beautiful thing about our community, is our community in general has always been a community of acceptance,
Yes,
regardless of who you are. And you can take that back to the multicultural, all the immigrants that have come
of
through here.
course.
So I think it may have just uh, the process probably would have been a lot earlier and faster.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's always nice to have that confidant because you don't have the ability to understand, well, why am I thinking that way, or why am I acting that way, or I tell a story all the time of I must have been in fourth or fifth grade, and I put on the roller skates in I lived out in the county, which was pretty built on masculinity and
Yeah,
farming,
yeah,
and
that's a good way
the
of putting
the,
it.
the neighbor boys were playing
Right.
baseball
Yep.
and digging holes and doing whatever. And my favorite thing was to put on roller skates and skate around to Xanadu Central. And
did you
I
have
would
fairy wings?
I would have flowy things flowing, and I look up in the window, and there'd be my father with his arms crossed, and just like looking across the street with the guys playing field, and my mom's clapping. So, yeah, I guess they have someone to identify with and say, yeah. But it is one. It's I'm very proud of the fact that it has progressed in Pueblo because SCEA, which is formerly Pueblo After Two,
Mhm.
part of our organization, and it was a key factor of reorganizing. We wanted to do this was establishing a youth group,
Oh, good.
and we have the Outfront Youth Group, which uh, anywhere from 13 up to 41 students from well, we have one elementary, but from middle school and high school partake in this youth group,
Oh, great.
and they have now in turn helped to establish 5 gay straight alliances in our high schools. So kids who are coming out, and it's something that I never had in high
Yeah,
school.
have
They actually
programs
now have
now.
a gay straight alliance where you
I
can
didn't
go
know
with allies, friends, faculty, other people who may be questioning
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or are gay.
There's an outlet now for anybody that wants that
Absolutely.
information.
Yeah,
And here in
community.
Pueblo, I mean, SCA definitely deserves the credit for that, but it's also the times nationally. I think the poll when the most recent gay marriage, the polling indicated that 61% of Americans don't even care.
Finally,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Yeah.
there, except for a few pockets of bigotry.
Well,
Um,
in Colorado has those pockets.
Yes,
Like it,
most certainly.
Colorado does have those pockets, but Colorado Springs always amazes me because that would be the first obvious
yeah,
dissension because of their
focus
church.
on the
But
family.
they had a lesbian mayor for
Yeah, I think
4 years.
they were like the Springs had the biggest gay community for a hot minute there, like a while back, from
Yeah.
what I remember.
That's
You know,
awesome.
Nope.
it was really weird because you got the military there and that crazy big church. It
Right.
was like, how is this working out? But it was always I always loved that on NPR, like all the supporters from NPR from Springs were like all these awesome like gay groups and stuff. It was pretty cool.
It was. It's gone through some transition. I just think there was a moment of where the far fundamentalist Christian right really took it to a level of recruitment. They had some very enthusiastic individuals who were all about, not advancing the gay rights movement, and Spring just being a hotbed of churches.
Of course.
Yeah.
It changed for a period, but I do see it coming back. It's coming back again to where it's more accepting, and even their political ideology is changing somewhat. So,
thank goodness. I mean, you saw Colorado go from a red state essentially from 1992, even though Bill Clinton was like the president coming in. Colorado was still considered a red state, and they didn't go to a blue state until Obama was elected.
Right.
So that's still 15 years within that Colorado and Pueblo was one of the only counties I think that was blue during that time. But there's still a lot of fight. Like you said, Pueblo County had this masculinity issue. While I was growing up, that was the same thing. There was this big masculinity thing. And in Pueblo, Colorado, I think there's still, when you go out on a Friday night, you see that masculinity
There's
thing.
a mix of machismo out there,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It still exists. We are a very Latin community, and Latin machismo is, that has to.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, where it's changed, I think, is, these individuals go home to brothers and sisters who may or may not, or who may be gay, or they hang out with a friend who is gay. So it's toned it down. It'll always exist because it does, but
is there, I guess, a bigger L, a bigger G, a bigger B, or a bigger T community in Pueblo, Colorado?
In Pueblo,
I think there's a bigger L community.
Yeah, like lesbian.
The lesbian community is definitely out more than gay men are in this community. Definitely transgendered is not discussed.
Not one bit are
quiet.
they?
Actually, in like most of Colorado, period, in Pueblo specifically, is not accepted. That image isn't accepted yet.
The gay.
So
or
the GLB is okay.
The T is.
The T is where people get, even no matter how far we advance the civil rights movement and stuff like that, the T is still a hard subject to even approach. There are many people that are gay or bisexual or lesbian that still don't accept.
Yeah, even within the community.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The barriers are huge for us still. That is another whole tackle, another whole wall to jump over for us and to break down, because the lines get blurred within our own community, and we can't expect others around us to change the image for that.
Of course.
When we can ourselves accept additional part of that label. That's...
And our acronym keeps growing.
Yeah,
I think
GLBTQ.
our most updated
What's
is
the Q?
L. It's questioning or queer.
Oh, okay.
And then A is ally.
Oh, does that mean it's acceptable to say queer now?
That's a debate.
It's
okay.
I personally don't
like. It means something different.
It doesn't mean it's odd.
Okay,
it doesn't mean odd.
Queer is identified.
No, not at all.
So queer is generally identified for a lot of newer youth. They use it. They use the Q for youth. For that don't identify as a boy, they don't identify as a girl, they don't identify as trans. It's kind of like an androgyny thing.
I see.
I have some friends from Denver that go to Rainbow Alley. It's a youth center up in Denver. It's really amazing. They identify as Q.
Okay.
Their sexual borderline interests, they don't know exactly where they lie sexually or physically.
It's just like a purgatory type.
But they don't want to.
Yeah.
But they don't want to. They're not asexual. They don't have interest in themselves or not with anybody. They're interested. They just don't. Those lines aren't defined for them. And so.
Where on the other hand, I have individuals who are older.
Yeah.
Who attended our. We just recently had a banquet for SCA that we have every year, and they are actually offended when we use the Q as part of our acronym.
And that's why it's hard.
Because they still define queer as
it's like
a
derogatory type of
so
and that's where that's where it's hard.
Nothing is perfect, and this is a prime example, but I think obviously we all come together at the end. Well, I want to comment on two things you said with being the blue state and such. One is Pueblo has actually led the way. In fact, in October of last year, we passed domestic partnerships before the state even did anything or was able to do anything. So Pueblo has kind of always been that trendsetter when it comes to acceptance.
And you see it again with I don't want to say marijuana and bring that in.
The marijuana issue.
But you see that January 1, they're like, we don't care what the rest of you are doing.
There was one really recently, too, that was like now it's a national thing.
Well, I mean, I think even
the smoking ban.
the smoking
yeah.
ban.
That was
Yeah.
really
We
early
established
on.
that we set that across the state.
After Boulder, we were after Boulder.
And to avoid being too political though, but I think that even the recall
it's a very good point.
That
very good point.
Because Denver was say, hey, Pueblo Democrats, they'll keep the Democrats in there.
Yeah.
What Pueblo said is Puebloans think for Puebloans,
and not what you say,
and not what you tell us to do.
Yeah.
And we go with what our gut tells us what's right, and we can love our guns and gays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a big development out of that.
I wasn't. I may not have been happy with the recall, but I live with the result, and I respect the result. And you're absolutely right in that aspect. That Pueblo isn't scared to actually address it when it needs to be addressed.
They take chances.
Well, and it just shows, I guess, if cigarettes are where our priorities are, they are. If guns are where the priorities need to be, it is. And definitely, it's awesome to see that the LGBTQ community as well, if they need to be defended, then Pueblo will defend them as well.
I think they're a pretty clear voting demographic nowadays too.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely,
like,
they are.
You know, they finally are starting to demand respect because there's so many of them that are out, and they're like,
yeah.
I mean, we could change
as lesbian and gays.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But even it's more so allies who are saying, do not tread upon my friend and his rights. And
my cousin,
a good example is
sister.
If you follow the marriage equality or the civil unions bill that we got defeated by a maneuvering from the Republican House, and they all got shown on the front door when the next election came around. Democrats took over and eventually passed it. So I think that also says a lot about Colorado that hey, we are our own free thinking people, and we're gonna go for it.
As an aspiring comedian, I guess, and myself, and I guess for other comedians out there, there's some of us that don't know, especially myself. Carl's got a great way of putting it. It's me being too me sometimes, like Wade is being too Wade when I'm trying to like think of a joke or something. We often miss the mark when it comes to wanting to talk about homosexuality in America, in our own lives, in our own communities. Is there a line for you where you distinguish where it becomes out of taste, I guess, at any point in time? And if there's something that you think that we as comedians can grow from as well, is there something that you can give an advice in that?
How does a straight guy tell gay jokes?
Yeah, there's a great way to put it right there. I mean, instead of me just beating around the fucking...
How does
it
is funny to gay people?
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's all about the perception and the way it is. If you can, I think identifying with a story and showing that at least you're compassionate to the community prior to bashing him in a joke.
That's very true.
I don't know the answer for that. I mean, I'm someone who watches Family Guy and absolutely loves Family Guy.
And they do some bashing in there.
I mean, there's bashing on. Well, no one's excluded.
Yeah, no.
Family Guy.
Not one bit.
And I actually go through. I can't believe I laughed at that. But
we all do it.
Funny, dude. Yeah.
There's my favorite. It's a Broadway show. It's Avenue Q.
Oh man, it's a great show.
There is a song from it, and everyone's a little bit racist. Or everyone's a little. It speaks to this whole thing. Listen. At the end of the day, everyone has a off-color joke.
Right,
and it really depends on the audience. Now, I'll tell you, for example, last Pride, or it was during a fundraiser that we were having at SCA next door to the Cove. The comedian was basically going off and telling horrible.
So the night you're talking about, I think, is this was one of the first shows that the Steel City, I think, put on.
Correct.
And they did an open mic, and the very first guy that they went up, they never knew, they'd never seen the guy. They didn't know who he was, and apparently he just went off.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the room, and it was just
really. How is that?
So
it was at the Cove.
It was actually at Downtown Bar, but
okay.
During Pride, they intermingled. But it was Gay Pride weekend, and
how long ago was this?
This is 2 years.
2 years ago.
Okay.
And I mean, so it's about timing, obviously, So and it was. I mean, but even so, the joke. it's just a bad joke.
Yeah,
They were just bad jokes to
Yeah.
begin with. So
Yeah, it's
had it been a good joke, maybe there would have been a little bit easier. But it was just a bad joke.
Have you ever seen the power? And I don't want to say of the left because I hate to say I don't want to put anyone within that, but the power of the LGBT community react negatively to a situation such as that. Is that like overusing? Like we discussed how they had political power or political ally. Have you ever seen where they've overgrasped at a situation?
Overreacted?
Yeah, the LGBT community. Because I guess I could say on a national platform, you've seen to where like comedians or like Imus, shock jocks, they'll say this, and they say it within a context of comedy show or shock jock, and they still get, you know,
I mean,
like people want jobs.
There's just do's and don'ts. I mean, like Michael Richards, who played.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking, yeah, absolutely.
To stand up
racial
and
slur.
say the N-word 100 times at someone who happens to be African American.
And that guy was the owner.
I mean, come on. I mean, where is the?
Yeah.
Let's.
Where's the context?
Where's the context? And so.
Yeah. I'm always curious to the opinion because I've never.
I think any time that the lesbian and gay community speak up, it's because it is a well-deserved.
It's necessary.
You know, this is the civil rights movement of our generation. Even while brothers and sisters of the African American.
The depth of that statement, though, this is the civil rights movement of our generation.
Absolutely.
If we put this in comparison to the civil rights movements of generations before us,
absolutely.
I think there's a lot of us that are walking around right now that don't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
That don't realize
most
that
definitely.
Right
I mean, even if you take the '60s with the black community and the struggle, '70s women's rights,
absolutely.
You know.
There's always been a liberal.
But this
absolutely.
is the civil rights movement of our generation too.
And to be a part of that, I guess, is something that we, as not only a heterosexual community within Pueblo, Colorado, that don't realize. Like when you put that Q on the end, I've never heard that Q before. You know, like I've never.
The A is what I was like, really?
Ally.
Too, man?
Because family members
actually
wanted to be included. Family members, friends.
That's such a
because that community is actually larger than the LGBTQ community. The A community is the most empowering of them all. Right. Because the A community not only socializes with the LGBT community, but they socialize with the straight community that have issues with the LGBT community. Right. The A's go out to work every day and don't deal with the discrimination, don't with any segregation or issues between, oh well, he's gay, or it's whatever. We don't hang out with him or go to the bar afterwards. We don't invite him. That happens. Those A's, those allies, get the chance to see those both sides, so they're our biggest defenders.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
I hate the acronym myself.
Well,
what else have you got for it?
Well, it's actually I've actually seen it longer. I mean, there's a Y.
There's a bunch of letters, but the official, thankfully, is really short.
There's a bunch of letters.
Yeah,
and I really think that we should just get rid of the acronym. Personally, I don't think we need this LGBTQA or label.
Perpetuates the stereotype a little bit.
Well, you see, if you say just the gay community, then
the lesbian
community feels
and the transgender feel very minoritized because they can't identify either way.
Man, that's I didn't know this and realize this about the transgender. Yeah. When I lived in the South, I worked with a lot of transgender. What's up? Yeah. There's a lot of transgender people that live in the South, in New Orleans specifically, where I live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And where I worked, I had several transgender coworkers that I never would have associated. There's some people in the L and the G that don't want the T. No. And that's.
Well, it's more than just not one. They also have not been educated enough about it.
And
they also don't understand.
That's awesome to know, and that's awesome. I think that's almost comforting to me. I don't want to say as a heterosexual male, but that definitely means that if there's a heterosexual man that doesn't know how he's supposed to feel about a lesbian gay person in his own community and he's confused about it.
There are different degrees of knowledge and of being gay.
That's awesome.
That are out there. As my very good friend Commissioner McFadden tells me, I'm way gay.
They started this whole conversation off with Lady Gaga Gaga.
Oh my
Here's how it all
gosh.
started off. He was on his phone reading up lyrics to the new Gaga. Yes,
But,
that
I
would be an
mean-
all the way gay tendency.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, as far I mean, just I live my life very gay. I don't hide any aspects of my gayness.
Mhm.
My culture. I read gay literature.
Mhm.
I absorb myself in gay politics,
Of
gay
course.
groups.
Of course.
I know about, but then there are some gay men
Of course.
Who
who
don't
know
involve
nothing about
themselves. They'll literally make the statement, "Oh, I'm not part of the gay community. I'm not a part of that. I'm not a part of that." And then there's an image for the gay community in, let's say, Denver. They are the club image, the bar image. They are the pride image in Denver. And then there's another gay community. There you got the gay doctors, gay lawyers, and you have the gay bus drivers that don't associate themselves with the gay image up there. And then Pueblo, you have the same thing. You have the gay image.
But it's just it's that way within every ethnicity. I mean,
and
there's
it just
different
boils down to
types
education and knowledge on the.
of breakdown. But
So in education, in this line of thought, is there Pueblo guys? Y'all are horrible at expressing sexuality or being comfortable in your own sexuality. When you go out to different cities, different places, you'll find the guys aren't scared to dress nice, guys aren't scared to talk nice, guys aren't scared to be certain ways, just because it's a different way of life. Heterosexual guys in Pueblo, though, have a problem being sexual within themselves. Is there any word of advice that you can give a heterosexual guy to let him be more sexually open with himself?
Well, I guess
Does
I
that
have a
make
statement for that one.
like what's that?
We are in the 21st century.
Yeah.
I am 20. I'll be 21 in a month, less than a month.
Never drank at a bar either in Pueblo, have you?
No.
Not
And
once.
so I don't have that image here. But I've been to bars in Denver. I've been out in Denver. I've been a part of the scene. And coming from my generation, I know it's a huge viewpoint change from 92, huge viewpoint from before that, and a huge viewpoint after because I didn't come out until 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But I know as a heterosexual male, I born and raised in Wyoming, I saw that straight aspect, how men didn't invest in themselves, in a sense,
That's a good way.
to make them, and I feel like coming to Pueblo, the best advice to give them is to realize that we're in the 21st century and that the judgment doesn't come from image as much as personality and action anymore. That straight men can dress nice, they can interact with their wives without viewing and being targeted as gay. They won't go to.
Well, I mean, my whole thing, I don't even know. For me, the gay thing doesn't have anything to do with it. Just be your own person.
Exactly.
And, judgment lies from within.
I guess
if you can't be comfortable with yourself.
I guess the way that one of the reasons why I bring this up is like I feel comfortable, and Carl did. Like I feel comfortable giving you a hug. I got no problem.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel it should be, and that's how I feel it should be for everybody across the board, unless you've proved to be a fucking creep.
It's
you
not.
know, and it's not. And not only is it not, but you can give someone a hug, and you're going to see those stares, depending on where you're at within this town and this community.
No, I mean, I think the best thing to do for the gay community is continue to support them by showing affection of love, or just how tolerant you are being around their company, because that will open up eyes and minds more than any conversation you could ever have.
What do you see for the future, I guess, of LGBT for Pueblo, Colorado?
I mean, literally, we are at the beginning of groundbreaking stuff. SCA as an organization has expanded. We keep on growing. As I mentioned on Friday, we just had our annual harvest banquet. And this is a banquet that has gone on for some time.
Is it that one with that really cool poster?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poster.
And, it started out with probably 20 folks, 30 folks. We're over 140 now.
That's awesome.
And we have politicians who are attending this dinner, business and community leaders who are attending this dinner, because they understand the importance of the community and being there for this community, not only because of just the respect and the equality aspects of it, because the truth of it is we have a long fight ahead of us.
Yes.
I mean,
has there been a
unions.
politician of the LGBT community yet in Pueblo, Colorado?
Is there not a politician?
Has there been?
No, but Danae Escar, our president, was actually the first ever out person to run for elected office.
Nice. So that girl is so important to this.
Danae is very important, and we were very proud to honor her. I don't know if you know, but Danae just got awarded as one of the top 10 most influential gay and lesbians in Colorado.
That was a great little picture she had on that magazine too. Good
So
little award.
Out Front magazine
Heck
with
of a
Senator
bartender
Stedman.
too. What's that? I'm sorry.
She was on the Out Front magazine with Senator Stedman.
Man, she works her ass off.
Ever
since I've known her, before she came out or before she was gay, she would help anyone with anything at any moment.
Absolutely.
Danae is number one, a dear friend, but an asset to this community, and we were so great to honor her at the award last year, or at the banquet the other night. But I mean, this banquet is growing, and so are we. Civil unions are nice, but it's not full equality.
Nope.
You can actually get fired still in Colorado for being gay.
There's a song that came out that was just awarded for being the biggest.
McElroy?
Yeah, with Macklemore, Same Love. The line says a piece of paper isn't at all, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got a foundation. We've got a foot in the door with the LGBT community. People are opening doors for us in political aspects to make our lives to be more aligned with the everyday Coloradan's life.
People are talking about it, but Danae, who's been with her partner Heather for some time now, they're just an amazing family.
World.
But right now, if God forbid one of them was to get in an accident, neither of them would be allowed behind to go see them, or to collect any sort of memorabilia, and or if someone, God forbid, a deceased, would be able to have any rights to that property.
That's
thankfully, they both come from very strong and supportive families.
Yes, they do.
Who
support them
who will make sure that it does get taken care of.
There are many instances where that is not the situation.
Not the case.
No.
And that aspect makes it very real, and everyone from Pueblo should know how very real it is.
Absolutely.
And there is discrimination. I mean, I still get points and fingers and. From younger generations.
Every Friday night, I bet, just walking.
Well, I'm talking from younger kids. I mean, just everyday things, I mean.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, socially, I mean, there's not a bar I walk into where it's not, hey girl,
no joke there. What's up?
Hey Jerry, and like I said, I made a decision years ago after seeing all these people around the world who were. I said, why am I ever? And so I actually never even came out to my family. Like, I never had the big coming out of, I'm gay. My dad disowned me very early on, and without telling me why he disowned me, but we all knew, we all accepted it, and
I can't get the roller skate image out of my head. That's why I laughed.
Yep, Xanadu it was. But my mom actually... I mean, God bless her. When I moved back to Pueblo officially 4 years ago, and it was kind of this weird thing. Like, my sister was like, "So, are you?" And I'm like, "Well, you've known. Like, why do I have to have a formal?" I tried having that when I was 18, and
y'all wanted to go get shots. Y'all wanted to have shots. Go get your shots of peppers.
And I guess that's what my mom was looking for. She wanted this big coming out thing.
Oh, she was hoping it would be
turkey dinner and the potatoes.
It's just like we're watching, because we watched Will and Grace together. That was our coming out.
We watched Will and Grace together. That was our coming out.
That was our coming out thing.
They cried together in Steel Magnolias.
It wasn't Golden Girls.
That was coming out.
It wasn't Golden Girls.
It wasn't Golden Girls. It was Will and Grace. But. My mom always knew, and I have an uncle who's gay and a cousin who's gay, and so she would always, in middle school, would always try to do. I remember once I keep talking. I'm sorry.
Go, man.
I walked in on she had a chart, and she was trying to find the biology or DNA of my uncle, my cousin, to me, had it mapped out, and literally had these little lines okay, watches the show.
She looking like your little brother or something.
Watches,
hey, don't have any boys.
Loves Culture Club, so does his cousin. It was trying to connect the dots.
She's making these diagrams.
This whole thing, and when I was in middle school, and but the great thing about it, and the end of the story is that, so I've never actually sat down and told my mother, listen, I'm gay. It just over just conversation and time and just seeing my involvement happen, and my mother marches in every gay pride parade. Parade with me. She goes to every banquet I have.
Awesome,
she's one of the biggest supporters of the community.
Good moms, dude. Awesome.
I'm sorry, I was all reaching down.
That's okay.
I had a litany of questions almost. What do you think about the Broncos? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, that Eric
You guys
Decker
watch
sure is
sports?
hot.
Oh my goodness.
That Eric Decker sure is hot.
You motherfuckers. Of course he is. Of course he's hot.
I'm just saying, honestly, they haven't really shown up the last 2 games, so I don't know what's going on.
I love Broncos fans so much. You fucking assholes. You guys have like the fucking perfect machine. And
I
you're
can
like,
honestly, Wade, I can really care less about the football
that's what I
show.
thought.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
don't know.
It's a show that comes on Sundays and
the
interrupts the
football
walking.
show. It's like Oprah.
It's
Whatever's
Oprah.
on.
It causes
whatever.
inconvenience when employees tend to watch football games instead of
No, I like the employee halftime or Super Bowl halftime show.
I'm sure.
Well, with
You
Beyonce
guys
last
could
to take the
talk
power
forever
out.
about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh,
These very, like I said, the pop culture thing.
That's the reason to watch sometimes, dude. The commercials.
Well, see, here's my
Well,
thing.
this year's interesting. They picked like an unknown, basically. I mean, he's huge, but
Who is it
Really?
again?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, that's right.
who is huge.
Yeah. But
And this
he's
guy,
not-
and Bruno Mars definitely has
the
talent that's good,
yeah.
the longevity, but
It's nothing compared to who has been in. Like,
they always
level-wise.
pick a legend.
Agree. Well, that's what I said, like Aerosmith or the Stones.
Madonna.
Or, yeah, right.
Beyonce. I mean,
Beyonce.
I haven't considered there to be a real performance in the Super Bowl since Whitney Houston sang the national anthem.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
That's the last. That's the.
I would
last,
say the Michael Jackson halftime show,
Oh, I didn't even think
What
about
year was
that.
that?
one.
'94.
And that was 2 years after Whitney.
For,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he, like 6 months later, he got into trial, and,
And that was
the
it.
end of his, yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember.
But
that.
'94, and yeah, he's like the smoke machine popped him up, and he stood there for like 10 minutes. You're like, just keep going. And then he did the ch.
And that was
it.
I'm gonna have to look that
It was
up on
over.
YouTube now. That's I love great live performances, but I loved Whitney, man. Whitney Houston was the bomb. That was like a 6-minute Star
She
Spangled
was good.
Banner.
Talent's gone
Tom
too
Petty
soon.
a couple years back, he put it down pretty well. He looked pretty good.
Who did?
Tom Petty. You know,
It was okay.
What would you say, or not? What would you say? Or where are some friendly LGBT places here in Pueblo slash activities that if there's listeners here that don't know, like where to go, what to do, just or good people to be around.
Great that you asked that. SCA actually, our project for this upcoming year, is to put together a guide.
Awesome.
And it's going to be a LGBTQA LMNOP guide.
SCEA LGBTAQY.
Yes. Guide to everything. Hey.
Whatever. Welcome to Pueblo.
For our lesbian listeners, where to get your flannel. For the gays, where to get your Madonna CD.
The closest Home Depot, the closest thrift shop.
I jest, but no, it really is, and because we actually we have 2 businesses that we know of are out gay and friendly businesses. One is a carpet cleaning business out in Pueblo West,
Oh, really?
owned by a gay individual, and they're very out and open. And then Rocco's Deli
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
is owned by
Rocco's-
2 gay,
and then-
is owned by 2 gay men, and they actually just received our Business of the Year award.
Did
Did they open it up or did they
And
buy
then-
it? Are they the ones who opened
Uh-huh.
it?
Yeah,
Barry.
Yeah,
It's
Barry
good
opened
food.
it.
It's good food.
And then as well, if you guys, of course, it's a hair salon, but Headlines and Headlines West
Oh, Headlines West,
are
yeah.
both extremely gay friendly. Headlines West is owned by a gay individual.
We actually had and I don't want to say it, but he came during the Best of Pueblo. Where the
Jeremy?
Jeremy,
Yep.
during the downtown bar, they took second. Headlines placed first.
Yep.
They came to the open mic
Oh,
and sat through it. Him and I want to say one of the other guys.
They looked pretty banging that night. Dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And those guys are some great people, man.
Well,
They-
yeah,
they,
so-
Yeah, they're good.
So we-
They're actually very good to SCA this past weekend with their donations. And,
So we get the carpet cleaned, get your hair did.
Yeah.
But they're a lot more out there, but they just haven't been approached. And again, a lot of it's going to come down to the ally community.
Of course.
But we know there are individuals out there, so we're in the process of putting that guide together.
Where does Jer Bear go to
Jerry.
I go get my nails did. No, like I have nothing to hide, so I feel very comfortable anywhere. And
As you
people,
should.
yeah, I do enjoy going to the Pirates Cove bar because obviously it's
It's the environment.
first of all,
it's the vibe.
It's the first bar that I walked into with my eyes wide open, like, oh my god, there's people. This is me.
Huh.
You know, Donna Summer was on the
Donna
jukebox.
Summer.
There was a pirate behind the bar. I mean, I was like, shit.
Do you get a
Pink
chance?
flamingos, penguins.
Did you get a chance to do Proud Mary at the Pirates
I did
Cove?
not do Proud Mary.
Oh, sad.
What's Proud Mary?
Oh my lord. No, you're not showing that.
I don't have it.
I did a Proud Mary performance the other night.
okay.
At the SCA banquet, the DJ came on.
Pirates Cove has been a legendary source of ridicule.
Well, it's
in Pueblo.
It has been, but it's disappointing because they are the second oldest gay bar in Colorado.
What's the first?
It's closed with a Triangle.
Okay.
And the Triangle is just closed in Denver, so now they are the oldest running gay bar in the state.
Fuck out.
They opened in 1974 in Pueblo.
Wow, and that's not a time that you would want to do that.
No, I mean people here were worrying about the safe night closing, and
the Pirates Cove was just as like you could either dare me to go into the honor farm with the Satanists when I was a kid, or you could dare me to go into the Pirates Cove. And that's like that's just how it was when we were kids because that place was of such
dare you to walk in there.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Use the phone. Just use the phone or something. Just go like whatever. Yeah. Just look.
Go steal a napkin.
It's amazing what it's become.
Absolutely.
There is again within the gay community there's some contention with some aspects of the Cove. But a lot of that's changing. They're going through some new management processes and some new bartenders. But at the end of the day, the community does come together. They support the Cove. They come together, and they support Downtown Bar, which is obviously owned by two gay men and very gay friendly.
You know that place, Charlie's? Have you guys been over there?
Oh yeah, in Denver.
Went there and no, it's here in town. There's
Charlie's.
The one. It's
on the west side.
State Hospital. Yeah, I went in there and somebody was like. And it was like only 3 or 4 dudes in there, and they were all just totally random characters. But the brother behind the bar that seemed kind of, cool but feminine, and then later on I was telling someone about it, and they're like, "That's a gay bar, dude." And I was like, "Really? Really?"
See?
I heard
really
about
diving.
So.
But
wow, I'm gonna have to go put my stamp on it.
It's gonna get the Jerry seal of approval. Jerry Bear doesn't.
I kind of was gathering as I left.
We have a little stamp. It's rainbow with a little teddy bear.
And I have 10 criteria. There has to be a Madonna share CD in the jukebox.
Yeah. I'm joking. There has to be a rainbow flag above the bathroom.
I'm joking. That's great if there is though. I mean, I've heard
especially on the west side.
That was a really cool bar.
I mean, we used to have 2, so I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah. What was the other one?
But it's called Splash. It was going on the way out to we're dramatic with our names.
It's okay.
Rain.
Yeah, so like,
it really is true. I think though, that's my support for the community can cope, but any bar in this town can be a gay bar. I mean,
ain't it the truth? Wow.
White
Horse is probably a little questionable.
Well, I don't know.
No, I bet you roll up deep in the east side. Those motherfuckers.
Well, we would never walk around with a fake roll up.
We got that a lot.
No, never.
Do you have? I'm right at almost 50 minutes, man. So that's about almost all I need. Do you have any? Do you have any shout outs, anything that anybody'd like to say hello to, anything message you'd like to leave?
Sure. First of all, if anyone is interested of joining or supporting SCEA, we can be found on the web at www.soco.equality.org. We're also on Facebook, Southern Colorado Equality Alliance. We're always looking for membership or new board members to help facilitate the programs we do. We put on the Pride Fest annually.
I went to that last one.
This year was a 2-day event with the marathon and the parade, the biggest one we've had.
How was the marathon? Good
biggest winners. We had a marathon. It was a 5K run.
5K. Oh, right.
They keep it's part of it's an athletic show. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
It was a 5K. But if anyone wants to find out how maybe help facilitate youth for our out front program, we're always taking that. In the Harvest Banquet, become involved. Ask that you go there, and to Danae and my fellow board members who helped get us where we are. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to work with them. But to our community at large, family and friends who are supportive, I think that's the best thing you can do. Is every one of us, no matter if you believe it or think it or not or accept it, every single person interacts with a gay person
That's a
at some point throughout the day. And just if you're not comfortable with it, there's opportunities to become comfortable or become more knowledgeable about it, and just find those resources instead of taking it to the extreme.
You, sir? Anybody like to say anything you like to say? You can.
And Jerry has it covered. I've only been in Pueblo a couple months now, but stepping into the community down here from Denver has been more than welcoming. It's been more than accepting. I was really surprised. I come from country rural town Wyoming, so.
And then he found the gayest thing in Pueblo.
What?
I haven't
What
been.
part of Wyoming?
I come from Gillette, Wyoming.
I've only been to Gillette, Wyoming once. It was for a paintball tournament, and I got food poisoning.
Okay, so it sounds like my hometown.
There's only like one. There's a hotel there with a restaurant in it, and it was right next to the Trace right next to Trace Margaritas or whatever. And I ate there and did not get to go out with the rest of the team because I got food poisoning.
So Gillette's grown. It's improved vastly, but coming from definitely a Republican state, Republican community, the cultural diversity of Denver was great. And then stepping to Pueblo, I would definitely say like everything Jerry had to say about the advancements of civil rights and how Pueblo's been accepting and moving ahead with that full gear, and just how empowering that community has become, and making those decisions and getting that word out and getting the knowledge has been great. And so I'm really excited to like be a part of this with Jerry and get to know Pueblo more, and definitely excited to kind of grow into that. Coming from the knowledge of both sides, it's good for me, I guess.
And your name again?
James Mills.
James Mills. And Carl, anything?
This has been crazy informative.
Crazy informative.
I had no idea how detailed it is. Like
on your
side. Well, you gotta get your nails done, and you gotta get your hair done.
And you guys have to think about way more than I have to think about.
Well, there's a lot of boundaries. Like there's a lot of things you gotta realize when you talk to people, and you have to really be open to a lot of different viewpoints and perspectives and opinions.
Well, and you have to be respectful to the coming out process. There are some people who are maybe out with a sibling and not out entirely with the community, so they're slowly getting. Not everyone.
You can't force them.
I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I have a family who supports me and loves me, and coworkers and acquaintances and colleagues who. They wouldn't know me or accept me any other way. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
There are some individuals who aren't, and I'm comfortable with it. I don't. Yeah. There are some who aren't comfortable. They're still
confused.
They're confused. They've been told all their life that this is wrong. Either maybe from a religion they've been involved with or society. It's different for everybody, and that's the best thing you can do. Just show them it's not. And for me, that's what happened when I moved away. And like I said, I just saw all these individuals, and I was like, it is okay. It's okay. And I said from that point forward, I'm never I'm never going to shut up.
She put her weave on and she walked out the door in those pumps, and all of a sudden she's.
I noticed everywhere. The purse fell out.
That story is priceless to me. Your dad just sitting there. Well, thank you guys.
Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Welcome to Pueblo, dude.
Yeah. No, it's been good. It's been good. I'm really excited. I've definitely met so many people at the SEA banquet, the Harvest banquet just recently. I met people just working and in the community that. It's been an eye-opening. I was one of those people that didn't have anything, still don't have much in the background for support family-wise or, at my hometown. So stepping out into Pueblo and having all that acceptance and, the community, as much as we don't understand each other between like gays and transgender, or as much as we don't accept each other for the drag community versus the biker community, because you got biker gays and drag gays.
Of course.
As much... when it all boils down to, when it all comes down to an issue between all of us, no matter what the issue is with the neighbor across the street, I have to commend the gay community to be able to come together
Oh,
and
always.
fight that.
Absolutely.
No matter
when
what
it's
the
the issue
issue.
of rights, equality, and or our rights being
Anything,
infringed
and
upon,
There is
That's-
we all come
there
together.
is
That's
a
why
sense
I
of
have
unity
Oh,
that,
exactly.
that
No matter what the viewpoint,
Absolutely.
you still have the fundraisers to where you have a community now come out and perform, and you have a drag queen next.
Well,
You
and
have-
you don't need a excuse me, shockingly drastic event to happen.
No.
to
know,
unite.
no.
You guys
No.
are already
You
there.
unite. I mean, the domestic partnership here in Pueblo was a prime example. I mean, you had every aspect of the gay community, and it is. I mean, they're really. It can be a little bit intimidating because
It is.
with I think I mean you
yes.
have the bear community, you have the
Of
biker
course.
community, you have the
Of
tweet
course.
community.
Woo!
You bring it up.
I mean, you have
You
you
bring
have
it
all
up.
these different levels of the gay community.
so many devising labels. And when you come out, when you come out, as Jerry was saying, the process is different for everyone, and it's difficult with those different sub communities within the gay community because
They're
Minorities.
trying to
and
find
minorities.
they're trying to find which one
their
they're supposed to
place.
go to.
Yeah.
and so
And it
we're-
shouldn't be that way. It's completely wrong.
It's,
But
So-
well,
and it's getting
but it's a
better.
part of the evolution.
It is.
Absolutely, it is.
Absolutely.
It is.
And so that like definitely step, and that's why I'm happy to be in Pueblo. I'm happy to come down and be a part of this change and this movement and all these accepting people.
I
Like,
think one cool thing about Pueblo, I'm sorry, I don't
No,
mean to
you're
interrupt.
good.
Go ahead.
Well, he's
Is
done.
that like it's been working class for a long time, and so like money is money here, and so a lot of people are like, I work hard for this money, so
Yes.
they won't. Some people won't pay to pay extra to recycle here. And
They don't
just
like.
shit
They don't
that.
like to think outside of their own.
But because they're all hard workers, they appreciate honesty.
Mhm.
And throughout certain areas, I'm sure they were confused about why it would be okay for this or that. But if you're just honest about who you are, Pueblo's like all about that.
yeah.
'Cause there's
definitely.
not a lot of time, in between to like be worrying about all that stuff. So just be
Go.
who you are.
Damn it.
Well, we were saying, just even with the this community has been a community of acceptance. I mean, from day one, and just it's the immigration.
Well, we're
is-
proud. We're proud to be Pueblo. We forget it sometimes,
Mhm. We forget
Yeah,
it, and we tell
yeah.
jokes about it, and but
Good jokes. They're good.
they're good
Well,
jokes.
sometimes.
But well, thank you guys.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
very much, man. I can't thank you all enough. That's our fucking show for this one.